Good morning, Glory Carriers. This is Reverend Carl Brown of Glory Carriers International Ministry with your Powered Up Moment. I read to you this morning from St. Mark 8, and it says, "And he came to Bethsaida, and they bring him a blind man, and besought him to touch him. And Jesus took the blind man by the hand, led him out of the village, and when he had spit in his eyes and put his hands upon him, he asked him what did he see? And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. After that, he put his hands again on his eyes and made him look up, and he was restored and saw every man clearly." This morning I want to say to you, sometimes for a miracle to be wrought in your life, you may have to move from familiar territory. Jesus took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village. It meant he took him out of his familiar town. Blind people can only function in familiar territory. A blind man could live alone, but because he understands his environment, the setup of his place, he knows it may take him 5 steps to the refrigerator. He would understand how many steps it take him to get to the restroom. So he can survive in a familiar territory. But Jesus wanted to give him a miracle that he has never had before, being in his familiar territory. And Jesus led him out of the village. Miracles are never born in a safe and familiar place. To get what you've never had is to do what you've never done. Too many of us have been living in safe, familiar territories. We go to churches where we know what's going to take place next. Familiar territory. We know what comes after what. We could tell exactly what time we get out. Familiar territory. But I submit to you this morning that for you to get from God what you've never gotten before, you will have to be willing to go in some enchanted territories that you've never been before, that is not even safe, but they are fertile grounds for a miracle. This morning I challenge you, get up and get into that place where God could do for you what he has never done before. Just maybe you are too familiar with your environment, your territory. You're in your safe haven, and it's quite unlikely nothing will happen there. It becomes routine. It becomes familiar and probably ritualistic. But if you would step out in the unknown and see how God could work awesome miracles in your life. It's when the Lord took the man out of Bethsaida that the man, and touched his eyes, the man started to see stuff. And even though they weren't clear initially, the Lord touched him again and his vision cleared up. Your vision is not the problem. Just maybe it is your environment that you're in. Why your sight has been impaired. This is Reverend Carl Brown of Glory Carriers International Ministries saying it's time to go into unfamiliar territory and watch the hand of the Lord move like never before. God bless you.